How are you?
Good, good. I'm excited.
It is so good to see you. Let's make sure I'm recording this because I tend to not record things sometimes. So,
Okay, I know
yeah,
I saw your interview with the other, I believe he's an owner, the founder of a fundraiser or
foundation
organization. Yeah,
or
sorry.
charity
Yeah,
foundation.
it
Yeah.
looked awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, thank you. To begin with, I wanted to acknowledge a couple of things. You are the first woman in my podcast, which is dope. I highly favor that. Yeah, I'm gonna look for plenty more of that.
I
First
feel
blogger.
honored. I feel honored.
All right. You're the first blogger, first model,
I
and the
I
first.
would honestly, you're not the first person to call me a model, and I've had other girls like, "Oh my gosh, like you did such a great job." I'm like, I don't see myself as a model, but thank you. But go on,
All
continue.
right, all right. I'm just hyping you up. I'm your hype man today. You know, this is all about you. And then you're the first person from our hometown, Culver City. That
Yep.
means a lot. So thank you very much for tuning in today. We got a good handful of things to talk about. Okay.
Yes. I want to first of all thank you again for opening up your platform to me because this is amazing and I love everything that you're doing with your podcast. And this is my first time doing like a live Zoom
Okay.
podcast, so I think it's really fun. But my name is Janet Gomez. Like Javi said, I think for those of you that don't know, I think Javi and I have been friends for like about 10 years. I
Correct.
want to
Yeah, yeah.
say so. We've known each other for many years, and I am a mother of two beautiful girls, Juliana, who is 5, and Leah, who is 1. I am a wife. I'm a full-time working mother. I'm a creator. And although I sometimes hate the word, I guess you can call me an influencer too.
There you go.
I'm a hustler. I'm the co-founder of Las Mamasitas, the founder of Jan Spring Design. And I work full time as a marketing coordinator. So I'm a busy woman.
You
You know.
certainly are. And I'm gonna be all over the place, okay? So just bear with Javi's mind because it's gonna be a roller coaster. Okay. But when I was thinking of you the other day, as I was preparing what I wanted to talk about, I realized that there was a number of things that are very delicate and important to talk about during these times. And
Mm-hmm.
I could only imagine how you and of course Cara were able to tackle those things, especially you being a very busy woman, and how to keep that, your mind and everything sane or sano as they say, right?
Sure.
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm waiting to see what she has to say. So so yeah, so Janet, the vlogger, the mom. Let's start with Janet, the mom.
Yeah. So pretty much, motherhood is the main reason why I started my blog. So that was created in 2015,
Okay.
and as a first time mom, you feel lost. None of my friends had kids, so it's just where do you go to search for that type of relationship that you're looking for in other like-minded women. So that's kind of where my creativity sparked, and I created my blog where I started blogging about our family travels, about Juliana. She was super tiny, but she was an ambassador for some baby shops back then.
Mhm.
And that has grown into a full-on creative consulting studio, and it's been a hard balance. I mean, if we want to talk about motherhood, I mean, it's so, there's just so many aspects. And I think the number one thing that people would always say is that we feel guilty half the time. We, I'm sorry, you can probably hear Leah in the background, but um,
Oh.
it's a battle every single day with yourself. It's you either put all of your attention to your kids, but you're neglecting your business. You put attention to your full-time business, but you're neglecting your kids. So people are like, Janet, how do you do it all? And the answer is, I don't do it all. Like, there's people ask, well, how do you balance it all? There's absolutely no balance. It's just knowing where you need to put your attention to. So yes, there are times that I don't pay attention to the girls because I'm trying to do this blog post, and I'm sure every woman out there can relate. Or I'm trying to, or I'm playing with the girls, but I can see that I have emails coming in, and I'm just like, okay, like I need to answer that, I need to answer that. But it's really trying to just stay in the moment and be like, okay, like I am going to play with Juliana for at least 30 minutes, and then I'm going to do my emails. Or let me do my emails just for 30 minutes. And what's been a time saver for me, and I do recommend for anyone out there, is to put a timer for yourself. Like, it's a house, if the house is a mess, put a timer for 30 minutes, and that's it. Don't go full blown crazy and try to organize your whole damn house, because then you'll get nothing done. And sometimes it's just like throw everything out the window. Don't do the dishes. Don't clean up the house. You focus on your priorities. Your priorities are more important. If your kids are more important and you can't stand looking at the house, I know we're in COVID times, but go to the park to go get some fresh air, or go for a little walk, to go get away from the emails, the computers, your phones, the mess in the house. So it's just, I always like to tell people, like I said, like there's no balance. It's just knowing your priorities and just try to take it day by day. Something I've been trying to do a lot lately that's helped me a lot. I deal with anxiety and I have so for many years, but I finally decided to see a therapist when I was pregnant with Leah. And then obviously our beautiful healthcare here sucks. So I haven't been to I probably went maybe a couple months, and then my insurance didn't go through and I stopped going. But something that truly helps me is just to wake up with a thankful heart. And we should be thankful waking up because we are alive. Like sometimes my anxiety gets the best of me, and I feel sometimes I get scared of just thinking like, oh my gosh, like one day if I'm not here for the girls, just random thoughts that sometimes pop inside your head. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one, other moms can relate. But it's just waking up every day and saying, I am breathing, I am alive, the girls are healthy, my husband's healthy. Like let's be happy, let's approach the day in a positive way. And I think that's just one of the things that's been helping me too as my journey with motherhood.
Your husband could take care of himself. Yeah.
I'm like, Carl, I'm leaving.
No,
You can take
Carl,
care.
yeah, exactly. Worry about yourself, Carl. I love
For
that,
sure.
guys. When you were talking about this, I mentioned it before. It's just like you're familiar with it with school. When you're in college, you got three options. You either you could get good sleep, you could get good grades, or you could have a good social life. And they say you can only choose two. So it's always being, for a fact, if you're mentally prepared that you know that you're going to be spread thin. It's that mental peaceful note that either way you're going to try your best, and
Yeah.
add value to those things that you do, right? Because it's
And now
never
that
going to be
now
perfect.
that you say that, I feel like sorry to interrupt. I feel like in our society, it's just like we always want to feel and be seen as we're always doing the hustle. Like, oh, let me do this. I need to do this. Like, I need to be on social media and show like I'm doing this. And then you see other people doing it. And if you're not doing it, you feel like a failure. But no, like taking one day once in a while to just binge watch TV and eat crappy food is probably what you need once in a while. You don't always need to be acting busy or be looking like you're busy. Like you do what makes you sane, like what gives you purpose in life.
Absolutely. Do you
Mhm.
think do you think that's a LA thing? Do you think that's just a societal thing today with social
No,
media?
I think it's definitely an LA thing, especially with Hollywood, and you have all these like influencers, everybody trying to do something. And I think now more than ever, you see more of that entrepreneur spirit, which I totally embrace because obviously I have it too. But it's just like, where's the fine line, between people going crazy and actually making something out of themselves. So
Mm.
I always tell people, and I'll talk about it right now, but I want to talk about it towards the end. I always feel like people always start their social media wanting to start with a big following. I always feel like people start their social media wanting to be having all those likes and having all those followers. And I always tell people, don't start it. Don't create content because you want all those followers. Don't create content because you want all those likes. Create content because it serves you a purpose, it inspires you, and it inspires your followers. And I would rather have 300 followers and have those 300 followers fully committed to me and fully support me and always engage with me than have more than 10,000 followers and have like no likes and like 3 comments on my pictures. So there's a huge difference when it comes to that as well.
I feel that. I kind of learned early on that it's not about because you hear about what the potentials are and you like the idea. It's like getting a job. You like knowing that they have dental 401k and all that,
Sure.
right? So when you hear like, okay, this influencer or YouTuber is gonna make this much, I'm like, oh, put me
Yeah.
on. Throughout the way, you do forget, and I'm guilty of that, of forgetting why you're doing it, who you're doing it for, because at the end of the day, it's not really for you, right? It's for the people to see.
Sure.
Yeah,
And
100%.
you would think that people won't penetrate or won't relate to your story, but they do.
Yeah.
You know, the amazing part of it.
100%. Damn, I'm gonna snap my fingers to that. I feel that.
And going back to that, like I'm super thankful that I have worked with amazing brands. I've worked with Pop Sugar Latina, and Target and Aerie. And I've had people ask me, like going back to the point, like how do you get these partnerships? And it's just being authentic, being your true self and being who you are, and that will resonate with people. Like going back to just don't stress about the followers, don't stress about the likes, don't stress about anything like that, and your community will grow. The followers will follow after that. Like it's something that inspires you, something that serves you. And I like to point out, I really don't have a huge following considering the whole social media influencer world, right? I have 3,800 followers. That's nothing compared to the 10,000 plus that a lot of other influencers have. But you know what? I'm not mad at that. Like, I'm not mad at that at all. Like, I am who I am. I've really embraced this journey of my social media and my community. I will mention community over and over and over again because I feel like that's what drives anything and anyone. And every business has a community, and those are the people that will support you from the end. They will support you through the journey, and those are the people that you should be falling back on. So instead of trying to stress about growing your social media, engage. Go follow people in your community, go like their pictures, go comment, go support them, go repost all of their accomplishments on your stories. That is how you grow a very authentic and beautiful page.
We're trying to act Hollywood and interact with them. Absolutely. But you
Mhm.
know what? You're a busy woman. It doesn't matter. And 3,000 is a lot. 3,000 plus is a lot. You know what I mean? And to tailor back to what you were saying, what's the point of having 10,000 followers if, a good portion of them are bots and the other ones are just looking to see you fall?
And the bigger brands really do see this, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people don't realize that. They see the engagement, they see okay, this person has 10,000 followers, but they don't get that much engagement, or they don't get a lot of likes, or etc etc. So I feel like it really does come across whether you are authentic or not. And no hate to the people that are really trying to grow their page, because I admit it, I've stressed out about it, like how many followers I have, or I'm not getting enough engagement or the likes. But at the end of the day, you need to do this because it makes you happy. Don't do this because you're pulling your hair at the end of the night and you're stressing out and you're getting upset about it. If it inspires you and it makes you happy, that is why you're doing
I
it.
feel
Mhm.
that. No, you'd be surprised. I have a couple of soccer player friends who are like models. They only have like 400 followers, but they're doing great. They're
Exactly.
Calvin Klein. They don't have to flaunt that. They don't
Mhm.
care about what people think. They're getting work, and that's what matters to them. Like this agent guy, he works for this big real estate agency. Homeboy has 900 followers. He's selling homes like a.
Living life.
You think he cares about that?
You know what? And of course, I don't blame people. I want to grow more. I want to reach more women. I want to be empowering more women and have more women come to me because I inspire them or I've touched them in some way or another. Growing your page is amazing. Just knowing how to do it.
Mm. I love how you're vulnerable and you're yourself and you are very authentic. Some people, you talk to them 1 minute and then you see them online, you're like, that's not the person I was just talking to. You're like, you're a scam.
You
Like,
know what? And
how do I report
that
you
is
as
the
a scam?
biggest thing. That's the biggest thing I've learned with social media and meeting people in person.
Mhm,
So for anyone that watches this, I hope I have never come across like standoffish or some way, because that is the worst feeling ever.
mhm.
Being having spoken to someone through social media before and then seeing them in person and totally getting the cold shoulder. I think that is the worst feeling ever, and it's happened to me. Or just being out in events. I've gone to plenty of networking events and just feeling like everything's so clicky and feeling like you're so out of place, like you don't belong. It's the worst feeling. So it's
Yeah.
just, if you go to events, like be friendly, be nice. Everyone deserves to be at the table, no
Yeah.
matter how many, whether that person has 3 followers and you have 10K. Like it's all about being respectful to one another and opening the door to the next person or the opportunity to the next person next to you.
You never know who's watching.
For
You
sure.
never know. That's one thing I learned right away. And thank God, I've been able to just be myself sometimes, and when I'm at my lowest, sometimes those people are the ones who come out of the blue. When
Yeah,
I'm having a hard time, those people all of a sudden hook it up or have a connect or know of someone. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
sure.
yeah, just be yourself. Keep it 100.
Sometimes it's people you wouldn't even expect. You're just like, like, thank you so much for thinking of me, for giving me that opportunity.
Yep.
And it goes back to, you just never know who's watching your social media, your story. You are definitely, even you, Javi, like, you are touching people, but people just don't express themselves. They're not saying like, oh my gosh, like, you're doing an amazing job. Like, I just watched the video. I've had girls sometimes be like, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing an amazing job. Like, I love reading your blog. I love doing this. I'm just like, I'm like, thank you. Like, I didn't know anyone paid attention to my blog. You know, it's just you. I read this quote before. Like, you inspire more people than you know. So keep going. Keep doing
Yeah.
what you're doing. Mhm.
Yeah. I think it was rest in peace. Heath Ledger said, sometimes your best friend is your worst enemy, and your what is it? The person you don't know is your biggest fan.
Yeah,
You know, and
sure. Hmm.
that hit hard. That hit hard. It made me reevaluate my circle. You know,
Yep.
I had to delete my mom's number and block her. And mom, I don't want to talk to you no more. Bye.
You didn't engage on my content, mom.
Yeah, you know,
I
like
gotta,
no,
I
you're not.
gotta.
I've had it. I've had it with you now.
Oh my God.
So back to the social media. If anybody wants to start, you're saying be yourself. Worry about your why instead of about your likes. Continue to just keep it like you just said. Be yourself. Keep it 100. Right. What else would you suggest to people who are looking for guidance and just growing, especially for moms that want to become a part of your programs?
Obviously, having good content is very important, and it's very hard with social media because you want to show. I heard a quote the other day: the hustle is not sparkly and it's not pretty. The hustle is ugly, the journey to being successful. And
Mhm.
it's true. You really don't see anyone posting like, this is really hard, like, I just cried the other day because I couldn't do this, or it's just, or that one person trying to get their business email up and going and they couldn't because they're confused. That's me. That happened to me this week. I was trying to create my business email and I was so confused, and I was just like, I'm the creative, I'm not into being doing all these logistical things. I had to ask my husband Carl for help. I'm like, can you help me? I didn't post it. It took me more than 2 hours, more than probably it should have taken the regular person, but it was no aesthetically pleasing image to post. But it's so important to post. And that goes back to your question. Like, show the vulnerability in you. Show that you're having a bad day. Show that you cried that day. Show that you had a bad day with your kids and they're driving you fucking crazy, and that's how people will relate to you. And you need to show face on stories. I know it's so hard. It's so hard to show your face on stories because, like, who are you really talking to? You're talking to your phone. But I feel like people relate to you more when you show your face and you show your vulnerability and they know who they are following, versus just like a business and it's just pretty pictures. Or who is she? She's just posting pretty pictures of her family. Like, I know pretty much nothing about her. And it's why are people following you? Are they following you because you're a business? What purpose are you serving the community? Your followers are following you. If it's tips, share more tips about motherhood, or how to do this, how to do that with your kids. If it's traveling, then focus on travel, focus on this. So it's just really toning in and getting to know your community. What does your community want to see? Why are they following you? I think that's the major thing, and really being able to relate to them. And again, it's very stressful, I understand, to do content, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I mean, the stories are huge. It's just the possibilities are endless when it comes to content. And when you have your Instagram, you can automatically connect that platform to your Facebook and to your Twitter. So those three are taken care of. And then when you do your stories, it's just planning ahead of time. I do my social media calendar especially for work too. We do our social media calendar and we plan ahead. That way you're not so stressed out about what to post, what not to post, or your captions are so sometimes get a headache to me too. So it's just really knowing that and getting to know your community. I feel that's one of the the best advice I can give to people that are wanting to grow their page.
Yeah, I sometimes struggle with that. I don't post that much, but when I do, I'm like, I just put one word or two words. I'm like, what's up?
Oh, that brings me to my next point. I mean, consistency is key. You can't post once a month and expect your page to grow. You know, you have to create the content. You have to put in the work. Creating content is freaking hard. One picture can take, especially if it's a paid opportunity, like you want to look your best for that brand. Like a lot takes over, you know, a lot of time, a lot of love goes into these posts, but you have to create the content. You have to be consistent. Right now, my personal, I'm not the best at posting, but it's that consistency every day, or every other 2 days. You know, it's like that way your followers will know, like, oh, like you know, I need to see a post from this person because they always come through with the tips or they always come through with the content type of thing, the inspiration I want to see.
So with social media, and I'm hearing all of that, with percentage wise, well, let me ask you before I tell you what I found out. But they say there has to have a balance, your profile, right? Your social media, because people are there to see you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I had a friend tell me the other day, and I agreed. He's like, I'm following her, not her daughter. I want to see her, and I was like, bro, that's what matters the most to her right now. Like, he's like, no, I didn't follow her just for that, and I was like, bro, you bugging, bro, like whatever. So, what percentage would you say is appropriate for your social media?
If I think if it's solely a business company or a profile, you definitely need to show face, especially if you're a small business. It doesn't have to be a huge percentage, but I feel like it should be maybe the percentage is hard though, because I feel like you should be showing face at least a couple times a week for your followers, especially for small businesses. Like, who are you? Like, how did you? Every business comes with such an inspiring story. Why did you start this? Who are you? Why? What inspired you to create this brand? When it comes to your personal, I mean, I feel like you need to show face every day, you know, whether it be in your stories or on your feed. What's funny what you were talking about your friend saying that, oh, she's posting her daughter.
Hey, daughter, he's like,
Um,
yeah. Well, I'm keeping it PG, of course, but he was like, I followed her for different reasons,
I'm
man.
not laughing, but I feel like if she's a mom, like she's, which brings me back to my next point. She's allowed to share whatever the hell she wants. If that's her personal page, she can share whatever she wants, you know? I
Yeah.
feel like some people always have an opinion about something, and that's always going to happen. But you do what makes you happy. Don't overstress it. If you feel like people will connect with whatever you're posting and resonate with what you're posting, you post it. Don't post it because you feel like people are going to hate it, people are not going to like it, people are going to judge you. People are going to judge you regardless. So the hell with that. That's what I have to say.
I feel that. I feel that. So yeah, exactly what you said. The percentage is for every three or four pictures, one of them should be of like what you're promoting, right? So let's say I'm promoting like bicycles. I'm selling bicycles. People don't want to see my page full of bicycles, right? They want to see what I'm about, right? So they want to see me like at the
Yeah,
beach
and
or
ultimately And ultimately, what you're selling is a lifestyle too. So, what type of lifestyle are you trying to sell people? If it's a product based business, you just don't want to post your product. It's like, what is this product doing for people? Where can they take it? Or what are you posting to make people resonate with it? You know, so that's really important too. Yeah, like going back to like even like a coffee shop, you know, you can create so much content around that. You know, a coffee is not just a coffee. A coffee is for a mom to start off in the morning. Like I look forward to my cup of coffee. A coffee can be enjoyed while you're working. It could be enjoyed while you're at the beach. I mean, you're trying to sell a life to someone. What is this? What type of life can I get from getting this really cup of coffee? You know, you want to sell your product, which kind of goes back to my Jan Spring design business, and that was born out of the necessity that I saw from small businesses. When you're a small business, you do everything. You do your emails, you do your messages, you're the accountant, you're the marketing coordinator, you do your social media. So I saw a lot of these product-based businesses that they don't have time to be curating and putting together this beautiful imagery. And it's so important these days, especially right now in the, excuse me, let me drink some water.
No, you're good.
Especially right now in this digital world, you only have a couple seconds to really attract a consumer to buy things. And most of the time, people are going to buy things because it looks beautiful. And you're like, oh my gosh, that looks, especially women, like that looks really pretty. Like, let me get that. Or even men, like if it's golfing or whatever, it's just like, man, that looks badass. Let me buy that. So you only have a couple of seconds to really, really change their minds. And most of these purchases are going to be really wants, not really because it's needed. So that's kind of where I come in. I come in and I try to create these beautiful pictures for people, and it's more of a lifestyle that you're trying to sell.
100%. But
I have a lot
golf, I don't know about golf though. I mean, no.
I brought up golf because
I'm just picking on.
Carl's all about golfing right now.
No. My boy's about golfing. I'm just picking on him. I feel that. I appreciate it. This is very valuable for someone who wants to start and they have no idea. So you mentioned a calendar. You mentioned being authentic. You mentioned only having a few seconds to really engage on someone. So make sure, like you said, it's strategic,
Yeah.
and then tailor that. Pretty much tailor your company or your profile around the company, right? So it could translate, or it has many branches, right? This is very
Yeah, I
valuable.
think another thing I would actually say too is really tone into like one thing, one platform at a time. Like if you want to grow your Instagram, focus on that first and then try to focus on the next thing. I feel like a lot of people want to do so much at the same time. It's just like, oh, let me do my podcast, let me do a YouTube, let me try to grow my Instagram. And that's when you will go crazy. So I really recommend you like tone it and you really zone in on one platform and you really try to grow that. And when you grow that, your followers will follow you on all other platforms, right?
I feel that. I'm thinking about those friends who from back in the day who still have that sense of humor that isn't appropriate for your product, and they're over here saying nonsense, and you're like, hey. That's why I'm only focusing on YouTube right now. Hopefully, I love doing this. I love talking to people, and
And you're great at it, by the way.
thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, that's what really resonates with me. When I was at the radio station, Janet, I swear to you, there was times when I first started where I had no idea what I was doing. So I would just say like words of motivation, right? Because as soon as the red button was on, they taught me raw. They were like, "Hey, we're gonna invite you to the show just to sit down and watch." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And then, "Hey, Javi, why don't you put on these headphones?" And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And then they just press the red button, and I'm looking at them like, "Am I on?" They're like, "Yeah, you're on. Talk." I'm like, "What do I say? Like, what do I
Go
do?"
for it.
I'm like, "Yo, what's up, everybody?" And I clicked it again. Like, well, I don't want to talk anymore. No, but to get back to that, sometimes I would say things like, "I hope you guys are having a good day," just words of motivation. And Janet, if I were to tell you the random calls that I would get, like you just saved my life, and I'll be like, "What did I do?"
Wild.
I was about one of them was like a vet. He was like he came from the war, right? And he says his mind was all over the place. Somebody cat. And he was like, I was seriously contemplating about doing it today, ending my life today. And your words inspired me.
Never
I was like,
know. You just never know who you are reaching on your platform, and that's just a perfect example of what you can do for other people, which is amazing.
it's amazing
Mhm.
how simple things could be that could mean the world to someone. This is what this is about, you know?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest lesson too in life. Like, be kind, be nice to one another. It's so important to teach our kids that too. It's such a scary world, and I think that's just one of the things, one of our biggest of the many responsibilities that we have as parents, like teaching our kids to be kind, to have a good heart, and to know when to speak up for someone. So I think that's so important.
That's interesting you say that. Tell me more about being a mom, especially during 2020 and 2021.
I mean, 2020, I have aged. Can't you see? It
Look
has been
great. What are you
such a
talking about?
stressful year, to say the least. I've been the most overwhelmed, the most sad, the most upset. My anxiety has been up the roof. I'm pretty sure, I mean, everyone can relate, whether you have kids or not. It's been a stressful year. So it's just, it's been overwhelming, and knowing just how to approach every single little thing that's happened, from COVID, and trying to educate our kids what exactly is COVID. Why can't I go back to school? Like, how come, like, life is so unfair? How can you take me out? I'm gonna go back to my friends. Even to the Black Lives Matter, it's a huge, huge eye opening for me. And I feel like we just don't talk enough about it. And it's been a huge learning lesson for me, and I've educated myself a lot through the process as well. And I've educated Juliana too. Not that I wasn't talking to her about it before, but now more than ever, it's just a constant, it's a regular conversation between us about how to be kind to one another and how to stand up for others. Even just the virtual learning as well, that has been, a hassle. So I think in terms of just balancing everything, it's been hard. It's been really hard. And I know Juliana and I, during the pandemic, we started doing our cute little videos, and it's been it. And I feel
Oh,
like
dope.
I feel like we both needed that. It was kind of like our little escape of
Yeah,
being home all day, to kind of like, oh, like, let's zone in into our creativity, and let's do a video. And she absolutely loves it. And
great.
obviously I'm really busy. We haven't done it. I don't do it as often as I would, but she's always mentioning, like, we have to do a video. We have to do a video. So
Great. She
yeah.
needs the agent, Janet. She needs the channel or agent or both.
You know what? People have asked me, like, have you put her in modeling? No. Does she have a YouTube channel? I'm like, no. Like, can't you see I'm neglecting all these other things? Like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to manage a YouTube. But she does enjoy modeling. So maybe I'll explore that. But I will never ever do anything that she doesn't want to do. So if we do something and she hates it, fine. Let's move on. Let's do something else,
Yeah. Well, you could tell that's why I enjoy it even more. You could tell that she enjoys it.
Yeah, she
That
absolutely
smile, light up the whole room. You're like, okay.
brings me back. Be authentic. If she loves it, she loves it, and you'll see that.
See
But I
that.
think it's so important to empower our kids. I think the moms are feeling the stress of not being good enough, not being able to be there enough for their kids during virtual learning. Even though I know I started working full time, but when I'm here and she's at school all day, I feel like sometimes I'm not able to pay full attention to her because I'm trying to work, I'm trying to do my emails. But I think empowering them is so important. Juliana the other day was crying because she couldn't. She's like, I can't do it. I can't do this homework. She started saying she's dumb, and it got me so mad. I sat her down and I told her, I'm like, no daughter of mine is dumb. I'm like, you are intelligent, you are smart. I'm like, and she knows about Kobe Bryant's story really well. And I brought up Kobe Bryant. I'm like, did you know he sucked at basketball? He could not do a free throw. And what did he do? He practiced and practiced for hours and hours and hours. I'm like, and that's in everything in life, Juliana. Like, you just need to practice homework more. You need to practice whatever it is that you're doing wrong. It takes practice, and that is all. It's just, I think just empowering our kids and building them up. It's so important to have the next generation rise up. Mhm.
Yeah, you want to break habits. You want to break cycles that you maybe
Yes.
didn't resonate with you. You want to pretty much prepare them. Give
For
them.
me personally, my parents came from Mexico, and they're super intelligent people in their own way, but they're not school educated. So it's just I have learned so many things from my parents that I now instill in my kids. But us, as being able to have gone to school for a longer period of time, is like, what am I doing for my kid that will empower them even furthermore and teach them things that I wasn't taught growing up?
I
It
was
sure adds a lot of stress to them, that's for sure.
I've seen it. My brother and my sister-in-law. I've seen what a day-to-day looks like.
Mhm.
You got the little one in one room, jumping around, singing songs. You got the other one who's a little bit more calm. He's in the kitchen, you know,
Yeah.
kicking back, just in front of the computer, very quiet. And then you got the stressful mom. She's just trying to balance everything. So, she deserves an award. All you mothers deserve an award. Trying to.
No, like a major one. You know, the thing that makes me feel better is that I just say to myself, everybody's going through this. Everybody with kids is going through this. Everybody's probably crying. Everybody's probably having a fit. Kids are probably screaming. And that's what makes me feel better. And it makes me feel better too that Juliana's not the only kid going through this whole virtual learning and that she wants to go back to school. You know, it's like we're all separated but together at the same time, going through this as a whole.
What are some things that you do in order to make her, not feel as impacted by this or not feel like she has to be stuck? You mentioned the park, you mentioned the channel. For some people that, don't want to force their kids to have a channel, right? What were some things that you could recommend to them, to some parents?
I mean, this digital world that we live in, when the whole pandemic started for us, we were doing a lot of yoga. There's a lot of resources online. You know, there's dance classes to let out some steam and some energy.
Yeah.
Thankfully for us, we have a backyard, so we went outside a lot of DIY projects. I know it gets really hard, but just even spending some one-on-one time, like even right now, Janina's just like, I don't want Leah here. Like I just want, I want you and I. So it's just, I think, really trying to spend time one-on-one with your kids and putting that time for them, whether it's with me, with Leah by herself, or me with Juliana by himself. I think that's really important. And yeah, I mean, your resources online are so important. You throw a dance party, do a picnic indoors, do anything fun that would just make them not think about them being stuck at home all day.
I feel that. I feel that. And what about, I'm trying to pick on Carl right now. This is your chance to, no. No, but I've heard, and I don't know the exact percentage, but domestic violence has gone up, unfortunately, right? There's a lot of disagreements, and that's because people are home more often than they're supposed to be. So people don't have the space that they need. What are some challenges that you guys experienced throughout 2020 as a relationship, and how did you guys get through that? Because I'm sure there's plenty of that still taking place.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with our parenting ways too.
Mm,
One of the many things is that during the pandemic, we experienced the most growth of having two kids, not just one. Leah was born August of 2019, and she was probably what, 5 months, 6 months when this happened. So it's pretty much us evolving as parents with two kids
mm,
really really opened up our eyes. So I think just the parenting methods, obviously men like to be more hard on kids, and women are more like, let's be graceful, let's give them space. And men, and he should, like, obviously Carl likes to be more aggressive. So I think just in terms of that, just trying to find the balance of also when disciplining the kids, can be hard. It's just we're driving ourselves crazy. How can we make things better? So I don't know about major tips. I think it's just patience, having a lot of patience. And one of the biggest things that Cara and I agreed on, like when we're really upset with each other, let's just not talk to each other. Let's like, you go over there, I'll
let's
go in
just,
this room, because sometimes you will say things that you will regret. And most of the time you will. It's things that Cara and I've gotten into fights, and sometimes we start about what the fight is, and it'll end up into like something completely different. Like we just go on a rampage of like, well, you did this, and I'm like, well, you did this last year, and that's why I'm so upset. I was just like, why? Like, why do that? So
oh, we go here. We were right here.
so we've agreed, like when we're really upset, like you go in one room and I go in the other, and like let's give ourselves like a 10-minute grace period, or even 20 minutes, to just cool down and like really come back to the situation.
I feel that.
Yeah, I feel like that's what happens a lot in relationships, especially with bigger fights. It's like things get brought up, they're just not even worth
Very
it.
relevant.
You're gonna hurt your significant other a lot more than what you would even want to. So it's just like, why even bother?
Yeah, I feel, well, one thing I learned, and I've seen it and everywhere, including my household, is that you end up having a debate or a disagreement, and it turns out that you guys forget about finding the solution,
For sure. Hmm.
as you just mentioned, and you're more about having the last word, you know?
I'm very stubborn, so I have to say I
And it's not more like how can we grow from this? Is like, how can I teach you not to pass that line? There's some lines aren't even meant to be there.
you
Some
know what?
you gotta
A lot
have
of
your boundaries.
times, Yeah, a lot of times it's just really supporting your spouse. Like, what makes them happy? Like, do they need to go out for, even during the pandemic? I know there's not a lot of things, but pre-pandemic, like, what is it that makes your spouse happy? Like, does she need a massage? Does she need to just go and like go hang out with friends? Like, so I've been very thankful that Carl's been super supportive of me and like all of that. If I tell him like I'm gonna go get a massage, he's like, okay, go for it. Or like I need to go like, and going back to my Mamasita community too, but like even events, things that make me happy, that inspire me, my side business, he has been there from the very beginning and been super supportive about it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes he's more like, why are you adding so much more to your plate? Like, you know, you should be like, you're spending way too much time with this than you should with that. But it's just it's been an overflowing of things, and I know I bring a lot more to the table when it comes to everything that I juggle more than him. So it's just the respect factor too. Like, he likes to go play golf, I'm like, okay, I don't want you to go, but you know, that makes you happy, and go to the range, you know. So it's really finding looking for those boundaries too, of what makes your significant other happy and what doesn't, and supporting them, supporting.
Yes,
I can't say that again.
I was gonna
I
say that.
can't stress it enough. Supporting your significant other is so important.
Yeah, I had a conversation with him the other day, and he was talking about relationships and how important it is to champion one another. The last thing you want to do is make someone feel less of, especially your partner,
Yeah.
right? So he said that obviously communication, right, is very important, and then also just making sure that you remind your partner their worth, their value. You
Yeah.
know, hyping them up, because you're at the end of the day, no matter how tired you are, you still gotta hype them up. You
Yeah.
still gotta find ways, right?
You're their biggest cheerleader.
You're the biggest cheerleader. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I really felt that when you said that. I felt that. I was like, okay, this is Carl's a different person, huh? I'm not gonna pick on him that much. No, I'm just kidding.
Very different from Carl in like 2006, 2007.
Yo,
Hey,
you didn't
Carlos.
like me. You didn't like. You was quick to tell me that, man. I hated you. I was like, bro, what did I do, bro?
Oh my gosh. You know, that's the beauty of it, of being in a relationship for such a long time. Carl and I have been together since 2006. So that's what, I don't even know. 12 years. We've been together that long, so it's kind of like we've grown together. Like, I was 16, so it's pretty, we've matured together, we've grown together, and I've seen Carl grow into this amazing man that he is now. You know, nothing to what he was when he was 19, 20. So it's just, it's beautiful to see your spouse grow, and even if you get married and later on, like, you get to realize, like, man, like, it's just, you see that growth and you really embrace it and you cheer them on along the way.
hmm No, I love that. I love seeing you guys, the whole trajectory of you guys traveling. He's very meticulous, by the way, about traveling. He says he has like a chart of all like the finances and everything.
Oh, yes.
I was like, I just get my bags and go, man. He's like, no, man, everything.
Oh, Carl makes itineraries. He breaks down the cost for you. Last time I went to our group, last time we really traveled,
You guys went all over Europe.
our last huge trip was when we went to Spain, to Barcelona and Madrid.
Yeah.
He literally broke down for the group like the cost of every single little thing and where we're going, itinerary, the breakdowns. So you got to respect a man for that.
You gotta give him some.
Here's your budget.
Yeah. I'm spontaneous. I'm over there. Oh, look, let's go that way. No, but I really like that. It kind of puts things into perspective, because I've encountered a couple of like challenges of being too spontaneous in trips. Where you almost get in trouble. So like let's avoid that. You ain't trying to start that in another country. So yeah.
Being
For
spontaneous is good though.
the what?
Being spontaneous is good. It's not a bad thing.
Fun. It's
Just
fun.
learning the fine line with that.
Yeah, it's fun. And then something about solo trips, right? Something about that, even if it's just taking a drive to another city that you don't usually visit.
Mhm.
You don't have to leave the country,
Yeah.
obviously. Right now, it's
And
fun.
that's something that Cara and I really want to do with our girls too. I mean, there's a whole world out there. We want them to see it all. And there's so much culture, so much richness to other countries. And it's something that we definitely want to expose them to.
Absolutely. No, so tell me more because you mentioned Las Mamacitas. I think that's a dope name. That's catchy. I want to know who
Las
started
mamacitas.
that.
No, that if there is anything I've taken pride in, anything I've done in the side hustle, it's that Las Mamacitas. So that started around the 2015 too, around the same time that my blog was created,
Mhm.
and it was out of necessity too that I really wanted to reach out to more women and meet more people, and especially bloggers since I had just created mine. And I met Ruby, who's also the co-founder, and we met at one of her play dates, and from there we hosted a very intimate and small brunch at my house. And from there, we're just like, we both enjoy blogging. We both enjoy empowering women and connecting them to resources. And then we realized we worked right across the street from one another.
No
So
way.
I'm just like, Ruby, I call her my work wife. I trust her in so many levels. And that I feel like that is one of the beautiful things that can come out of any business, meeting someone that you can trust so much with your business, you know? It's like when it comes to money or anything like that, like we have never questioned each other, we have never doubted each other. So just the fact that we that us the founders trust each other and we get along so well and we love each other as sisters, that totally penetrates through the whole community, and I feel like everybody feels it as well. So now Las Mamacitas has grown into a network where we empower women through our creative markets and events, and it's just grown into such a beautiful community. And really, of who I am today, I owe it to Las Mamacitas. I have to say, a lot of the opportunities I've gotten, I feel like a lot of the brands that reached out to me is because I've grown with this beautiful community and I've grown with them as a mom, which is the most beautiful thing. So Juliana was probably like one when we created this community, and now she's almost 6, you know? So it's beautiful that a lot of these moms have seen not only myself grow, but my daughters as well.
Yeah. Perspective of it.
Let me just say, nothing comes easy though. I mean, Ruby and I have gone through our tears. We've been in fetal positions crying because something went wrong. Like everything, so much work goes beyond the scenes that people just don't realize. You know, it's like so many little details with these events, like Mamacita Mimosas, like we have about 100 people attend those. And we want everything to look good. And obviously we pay attention to detail. So we have activations where people get their hair done, their eyelashes done. We get sponsors. We try to bring on brands. We get brands to sponsor swag for our swag bags. So
Mhm.
just a lot of attention goes into it. And like I said, a lot of crying, but I will do it over and over and over again for this community and for all the support that we've received.
That's dope. That's
Mhm.
dope. This is not only to the fellas, you just mentioned it, but if you could describe it in like not 3 words, but 3 things, right? Like, do you guys have a pillar, your 3 pillars? It's okay if you don't. That's just
No, not really.
no, 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 that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Don't sweat it. But if you could describe it to someone like in an elevator, like what would it be about, especially to the fellas who, obviously aren't as involved as moms are, right? What would it
Oh,
be?
like our Mamacita elevator pitch.
Yeah.
You know, I had one and I've had one, but it's so hard to put it all into like one little sentence, you know. But I usually just say like we're a beautiful network of women, a big community where we love to what's the word? We love to support small woman owned businesses, and we do this through our created and our small markets.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay. I was about to press exit. No, 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 no,
You're going to.
no. That's shady. All
You
right.
know what? It's horrible because I really don't have an elevator pitch because I go on a rampage of like just everything that I do, and it's
Got
just
a
like,
lot to talk about. Yeah, yeah.
and Ruby scolds me about this too. Like we need to come up with like a sentence where it's just like it just like bam, like that's who we are, you know. But we're
Yeah.
so much like we're a sisterhood. We're mamacitas that support one another, and we continue to do so.
Wow, we've been going at it.
I know. I think just really quickly, I also want to touch that through Las Mamacitas, that's how I landed my now full-time job. So I work full-time as a marketing coordinator at the Shops of Montebello, and I do everything from community outreach to social media,
Wow.
coordinating. I do influencer outreach. I took over their digital platforms, and I pretty much took over their virtual events as well. And a lot goes into my position, but I wear many hats. But I have to say, no matter task how big or small, like it's all fulfilling to me. So, and my favorite part in this position is that I get to hire people in my community. Like we need a backdrop to be done, or we need this, or we need balloons, we need florals. It's like my mind goes to like, oh, what badass girl can I hire? Or what badass small business can I hire to come and work for us? So they're able to display their talents. So that's one of my favorite things. And
I love that.
shout out to my boss if she ever sees this. But Marina, she's been an amazing mentor and boss.
That's amazing. That's I really felt that because I'm sure you got plenty of experience and you got plenty of schooling, but you came from what you were passionate about, right?
Yep.
Not, and I'm sure, like I said, you got plenty of schooling from it, not what a piece of paper a degree says, right? It's like, no, 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 I got that talk and I've been through the bottom and I've been through the top, and I'm happy to say that this gave me a career. And let me tell you, Janet, there's a number of people that are stuck in jobs only because it pays the bills and they're miserable.
Javi, I have a whole little thing. Let me just say, if you are miserable in your job, if you are crying every day, you are not alone. Okay. Before this job, I was a fashion merchandiser and designer for a wholesale company for jewelry. And I was miserable. I was almost there 8 years. 4 of those years, I was horrible. It was horrible for me. My boss belittled me. She made me feel stupid any opportunity she could. I dreaded waking up in the mornings. I was crying almost every day. And the bad thing about this is you feel stuck because you need to pay the bills. And the fashion industry with that is that it's very cheap. A lot of if you try to go somewhere else or get a new job, like the possibilities of that is that they're going to pay you minimum wage. From my experience, I know everyone's experience is different,
Mhm.
but I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I got laid off in right before the pandemic started last year. I got laid off. And Javi, I swear, I texted all my friends, and I'm just like, it happened. And I Carl and I was crying, tears of happiness. And obviously, still you're left with, oh shit, like I'm so happy right now, but where are you gonna
What
get a
am I
little,
gonna do?
but from there, like you see the stars align, if you're really, really dedicated on what you love doing, it's like sometimes it's just worth taking the plunge for. And I know I got laid off, but I feel like I was going to the point where it's just like, I'm just gonna quit and not tell Carl. Like I'm literally gonna go in there and I'm gonna go tell him like, yeah, just it got to that point because no one deserves to be unhappy. And if you are unhappy, you are not alone. And this was something that I was not sharing on my social media for the risk of not wanting my boss then to be looking at my social media, because she would question often what I would post. She would question often of stuff that I would put out there, which was none of her business. But
Yeah,
and
yeah.
if you're out there and you ever listen to me, I hope you've changed your ways, because um just know that nobody's life is perfect. There's a lot of people out there that are not happy with their lives, but you keep doing the thing, you keep doing the hustle, and just keep praying and keep positive, and hopefully, and I know things will get better, and whatever you're working hard in, it'll eventually pay off. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
Mhm.
dope. That's dope right there. So you're telling me that if someone were to come up to you and say, "I hate my job, I hate my life," that you would recommend doing it your way, and I give it up to you because you got a family. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure when you were calling people, they're like, "Why are you celebrating?" Like the bills don't care about your feelings.
I know,
Like,
my girlfriends are probably like, Jenna, like most people would be really sad right now, that they got laid off. But if somebody were to tell me that they hate their job, I will tell them, well, first of all, do you have money to fall back on?
mm,
Because first things first, we're adults and we have to be responsible, especially if you have a family. Just like, do you have a savings? Would you be able to live off your savings for a couple of months? And second of all, I wouldn't recommend to quit your job off the bat, which is, not the best. I mean, nobody wants to hear like, don't quit your job because you're absolutely miserable. I would recommend, have you tried looking for another job? Like looking for another job does not mean sending out one resume a day. Like You have to commit to sending maybe 10 a week, maybe 20 a week. It's just, you need to dedicate your time. It's like another little part-time job, just trying to reach out to other companies, and pitch yourself and grow as who you are. So yeah, I would definitely recommend sending out resumes like crazy. Do you have a savings to live off of for a couple of months? Because at the end of the day, you do need to, you need to pay your bills, and you have to be responsible about that too and cognizant.
Hmm. Absolutely. Gary Vee said something. I'm sure you know who Gary Vee is. A marketer, big time marketer. Um, and I really didn't agree with it at first, but it made sense after he explained it. But he said, most of us are so worried about image,
Mhm.
right? And what they don't know is that if they just sacrifice 1, 2 years of their life, so much could change. If you
Yeah.
have to cut your expenses, if you have to log off a membership, cancel a membership, if you had to move back in, right? For 1 year, you have a why, you have a purpose. Don't beat yourself up about it.
That's true too. That's a
And
really good
people
point
are
to
like
bring up.
killing
Like,
themselves.
where's your money going towards? Like, are you buying that Starbucks every day? Like, maybe you shouldn't be getting that Starbucks every day. It's just like, where can you cut your costs? Are you eating out every day? Like, maybe be more strategic with your groceries so you're able to save up money, or you're able to live off your savings for a couple months and like get the hell out of that job that's made you so miserable.
Yep. And I see that. I see that. I've had friends from LMU who become accountants or lawyers, and they tell me, right? And you would imagine that they're in a way better place because they have those type of titles. They're miserable.
Mhm.
They're miserable. And I'm not saying that it happens to every accountant or
Yeah,
lawyer
for
or what
sure.
have you, but they highly regret it, and they feel like, especially with Latinos, right? Like, what is my family gonna think of me? Are they gonna disown me if I do like this silly, what they view as a silly career?
Mhm.
So
And that's another thing, it's just it's just going for it. Like, hold on to that job for a little bit while, but really focus on what you do on the side. Don't be scared. I always tell people always tell me, well, I'm not ready. I'm like, well, if you're waiting to feel ready, you're never gonna start. You're never going to do it. And my whole mindset now is, if it's not making me nervous and if I'm not scared, I'm not in the right path. I'm not in the right journey. Because growth is never going to feel good. When you're growing, it's never comfortable. So I always want myself to at least feel uncomfortable once in a while. Like, oh, like I can't do this. This is hard. You're on the right journey. You want to grow. You want to be you want to grow more into the person you were last year. So I always tell people, if you're waiting for the moment to feel ready, you're never going to feel ready. I'm like, so just go for it. Just start it, focus, grow on your side hustle, and eventually you'll grow, and bless the God, maybe you'll be able to quit your job one day.
hopefully, yeah,
Mhm.
I'm growing all right, but from the sides, not I got this whole COVID thing, backtracked everything.
I feel you on that one.
I got the saggy clothes now. I'm bringing the '90s back. Or what future collaborations you have coming up for people who are watching this right now and who are really touched by your message and they could continue to follow you.
Well, you can follow my personal page at Jans_Spring. And then I have my Jan Spring Design, which is the product consulting studio. And follow our Mamasita page. I mean, we haven't, due to COVID, we have canceled and haven't really planned a lot, but we do have some stuff up our sleeves, some exciting news coming up that we'll be sharing soon. But that's LA_Mamasitas. And follow my full-time my full-time job too. um, the Shop Montebello is their IG page. I run their social media full-time as well. So
Okay.
it's a lot.
Oh no, that's good. That's good. People are probably looking for like inspiration or ideas, so they could probably see it through all those channels. So
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
very important. That is very important. Janet, I want to thank you.
Thank
I could
you.
keep going. I could keep going. This is barely the first quarter, if you ask me, but
Well, I'll have to come back another day.
you have to come back. Like I've told the other people I've spoke with in the previous podcast is I don't see this as a one-time stop. Like I
Hmm.
want to see what it's like a couple of years from now, 5, 10, 15
Growth.
years.
Yeah.
Granted, everybody's still healthy and sane, just to see what that looks like. That's what this channel is all about. Just it's all about you. You feel me?
Yeah.
So Yeah.